Welcome to the Verdin Sports Show. I'm your host, Jacob Verdin. Come on, man. You made it to the end of the week. It's Friday. Everybody can get hype. Got the weekend ahead of you. You got some NFL playoff football. Monday, you got the national title game. Got a lot of stuff to break down here. We'll talk LSU transfer portal, some additions, some news, some new focuses maybe for Lane Kiffin and his crew. Ole Miss is kind of in chaos a little bit. We'll break that down. Dante Moore's decision to return to college football. LSU basketball ripping your heart out and stomping all over it and smushing it on the ground. We got everything. Jam-packed show. As per usual, smash that like button. Drop any question you have in the comments. We'll get to you throughout the stream. Live every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 9 a.m. on YouTube, on Facebook, wherever you want to watch us. We're there. And you can follow us on social media as well. We got all the links in the description at Verdin Verdict on every platform, whether it be Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, you name it. We're there. Just go ahead and find us. Let's jump right into this transfer portal section. Shama. All right, transfer portal. Hassan Longstreet. So we rambled and rambled for about a week on why getting a backup quarterback would be so important. Because LSU at one point in this transfer portal window, believe it or not, had 0 quarterbacks. Now you have 3 quarterbacks that have entered the portal to go to LSU. The best 2 obviously are Sam Levitt, and you got this man to the right here on the screen, the freshman from USC. Look, trust in Lane, man. He's going to figure it out. It might be confusing at times. At times you might have to kind of channel your inner rom-com and chase him out to a new state and fly into Tennessee with the boombox. And come on, man, you got to rekindle some stuff. No, but seriously, he's been able to kind of attack all of the areas LSU had to hit in a very, very calculated way. Now, there's a couple of areas left. We'll get to them. Got 2 of them that I'm going to really harp on today. I'm glad they got the quarterback depth. Not much pressure left on your offense. Now you can kind of just get the last few pieces to be able to finalize your roster, if you will. Offensive line, I think, is really going to be a key piece here. You know, I want to continuously harp on that. You got to focus on the offensive line because that was the main area that needed growth this season. You have to be able to go in and target it. Now, you got the man on the left right here, the Colorado transfer, Jordan Seaton, who's asking for a hell of a lot of money and has some competitive schools offering him in his ear. Oregon being the biggest name of them all. Now, I'm not trying to say LSU isn't a big fish or a big bidder or doesn't have a big bag. Obviously, they do. Times are different at LSU. It's not the LSU of the past where you're scrounging together pennies and not really wanting to buy players. Now you're in a completely different spot. You might be the school buying the most players at this point with the #1 transfer portal class. But I want to say this about the offensive line before we get too far. You do have some young pieces on this line that you can look toward as being the future, if you will. Weston Davis being one of them, Solomon Thomas being another one. I know Weston gets a bad rap because this last year wasn't great for him. He had a lot of technical errors, whether it be penalties, false starts, holds, him getting pushed around. There was a bit of everything. It's the SEC, guys. It's your first season. I mean, I'm going to give him a little bit of grace because if he can hit that weight room and get his confidence together, year 2 can get a little bit better. Like, not everybody's going to be able to be the freshman tackle like a Will Campbell or an Emory Jones who hits the ground running, and it's phenomenal. And I want to kind of talk about Emory Jones specifically. Shout out our guy in the Baltimore Ravens. There was times where Emory struggled a little bit. Not to say that he was horrible by any stretch, but I'm advocating for the young tackle or the young O-lineman to be able to kind of get some grace a little bit. Because the continuity that you're going to be able to keep on this offensive line by keeping Weston Davis, by keeping Braylon Moore, is better than replacing an entire new offensive line. At least you're going to be able to bring something forward. Now, you're going to ask me, well, the offensive line was so bad, like you said. Why would you want to bring any of it forward? I do think that there's a merit in being able to improve players that were already in the system. I do think that starting from ground zero, building from the ground up, whatever, simile you want to use for this, I don't think that better serves you comparatively to keeping a guy like Weston, keeping a guy like Braylon, because then you're going to have to utilize more of your NIL money towards that offensive line, more than you already will. You're already bringing in 2 to 3 prospects, maybe 4. In that regard, you'd have to bring in 5 or 6, and you're not able to use the capital in the way that you potentially once wanted to. at least in my opinion. I do think that Weston Davis returning, you're going to see a big boost from him. There's been a couple of LSU players that in year 2 have been able to kick it up, turn it up a notch. Everybody's always fixating on it being a quarterback or a wide receiver or shit, even a halfback, a DB, or people talking about Harold Perkins the next year. Maybe an offensive line. Maybe an offensive lineman can flip the switch and kind of up the ante a little bit. Weston Davis, I think, could be somebody that could benefit the most from having a solid offense. And then also the Lane Kiffin scheme, the system, the brains behind it all, the method to the madness, if you will. He could have a vision for him, and he could see him put in a different spot, and he could potentially succeed. I just think that ruling Weston Davis as a weak link or just being like, we don't really want him, you could be eating your words, because next year he could be a pivotal part of that offensive line that has to turn around, no questions asked, has to get better. And I think returning some of your more promising depth pieces is the way to be able to do that. Now, Jordan Seaton, watch. He's currently the number 4 player left in the transfer portal, number 1 offensive tackle available. He is the gentleman on the left. We're repping that Colorado, number 77. It's interesting. It's interesting. You had Sam Levitt comment on his Instagram. So, I mean, LSU is trying to get across his feed, if you will. Some people aren't happy with him, though. Some people are saying, well, money reveals your true colors. We're seeing his true colors right now. There's 2 things that they're harping on. One, apparently our guy Jordan Seaton posted a video that Colorado Athletics edited for him, and they're upset, saying, well, he didn't tell us that he was entering the portal. He just asked for a video of his highlights. He didn't tell us why he wanted it or what he was going to use it for. Does it matter? Does that really matter? Who has the rights to all the highlights and all the tape from Jordan Seaton all season long? Colorado. And I don't want to take it here, but buddy, the people in that media department, what are y'all getting paid to do? Create social media content for the players. If he requested it, I hate to break it to you, I don't really see the break in that. Now, he's using it to say that he's leaving. That's the business that you're in. That's the business that you're in. You're going to have a post, whether it be a graphic or, in his regard, a highlight reel. I mean, I'm not trying to say that it's right or wrong. I just don't see the hate in that regard. Now, the money thing, there was a tweet coming around where he was like, man, just talking about the brotherhood at Colorado and how there's people that want money and they're making decisions based on money, and he would rather keep the brotherhood together at Colorado than now. Naturally, he enters the portal, and people are questioning that and scrutinizing that comment that he made. Colorado doesn't have much hope left. It's about as confusing can be. They're not competitive. Why not go somewhere with a better chance of success, and then you get money on top of it? It's a no-brainer. I mean, look, Coach Prime built something really good. Travis Hunter, Shador Sanders, even Shiloh. You got Jimmy Horn. You got a lot of pieces that came through that university that has had success, especially at the next level in the NFL. It's going to slow down drastically, though. And that's just my opinion on it. And it's not to say anything about Coach Prime, but you even saw through the offseason into this year, he wasn't as available around the building. I'm not trying to say that he's not as focused on his job. I'm sure he'll be the coach there for, maybe 2-3 seasons. But for Jordan Seaton, a guy who, the number 4 prospect in any position in the transfer portal, he wants to go somewhere where he could chase a national title. And it's not in Boulder. It's not. I don't care how you want to slice it. Coach Prime has built something very good over there, and he has, changed the trajectory of that program in its own respective bubble, because Colorado won 1 game and they weren't doing much. And now here they are, going to bowl games, and you had a Heisman, and it's just been a kind of a fairy tale turnaround. That's fine. It's not going to end up with a college football playoff run. And that's what Mr. Seaton wants to do. So if you can do that and you can get money, you can scratch both of those itches, I don't really see a problem with it. I can't lie. That's just the era of college football that you're in. As of right now, there would be 3 schools that I'd imagine are in the mix for him pretty hard. Mississippi State, Oregon, LSU. He went to Mississippi State recently on a visit. The coach from Colorado, his first offensive line coach, Coach Phil, he's currently there on the Bulldog staff, so that'll be a personal connection to watch. I'm sure Oregon will be in the mix for him heavily, especially with them trying to rebuild that offense. Dante Moore's coming back. They're trying to lock and load and get back into that national title conversation, if you will. But LSU's got some bread. They're going to keep trying to throw it. I'm sure they're going to try to be the squeaky wheel that gets the grease here, because Jordan Seaton would be a phenomenal piece to polish off that class. We talked about it Wednesday. Offensive line now, especially since you've gotten your quarterback worries out the way, is the number one focus, in my opinion. Now, the only other thing I think you could potentially look toward replacing is this guy right here. Shout out Harold Perkins. First thing, congratulations to our guy for declaring to the NFL draft. Everybody always wants to live their dreams out, and our guy Perkins doing that. Not a surprise. He accepted the Shrine Bowl invite. Usually that's an indicator of, hey, I'm out of here. Now, as tough as it is to see Harold Perkins leave, it's the smart decision. I mean, last season, not the one that just passed, the one before that, 2024, you saw him tear his ACL in September against UCLA. So he could have had a medical red shirt from that. But when you have injuries like that, you might as well get it while the getting's good. You never know. You can have one play, re-aggravates it. You're back on that training table, and you could be asking yourself, why did I not make that decision? So him going to the NFL, I think, is a great move, and I think he's a great player. I think he will help or benefit a defense greatly. Wherever it is, wherever he goes, I'd imagine he'd be a top 3-round pick. I would say right around second round. Maybe if he tests insane, he can get in late first round, but more than likely he'll be a top 3-round pick. You got a couple of pieces if you're LSU that are returning in the linebacker room. The biggest one, Whit Weeks. I mean, come on, straight dog. That's big. Devon Keys, Tylen Singleton, the young buck, Keelan Moses. I do have an idea, though, with somebody that you can add. Bang. TJ Daugherty. Now, let me go ahead and just add some context here, because a lot of people are going to be confused. Like, what the hell? TJ Daugherty in the transfer portal? Yeah, there's some chaos going on at Ole Miss. I can't lie to you. There's a lot of problems with the Rebels. Rebels fans are not happy. Got some key players leaving them, 3 of them to be exact. TJ Daugherty, Prince Uman-Milan, and Deshaun Womack are gone. Gone. Contracts got leaked. Some new players are making more than some old players. He just had a lot of controversy. And that's the tough part about managing a roster in this era, because it's not just about getting the right pieces. See, me and you, we're talking right now about what does LSU need? What do they have left on their wish list? O-line, linebacker, might be able to benefit from getting a tall wide receiver to replace that X that Nick Anderson just left, even though you got a bunch of wideouts. But that's besides the point. We're talking about wish list, depth, prospects that you could potentially get. There's so many more wrinkles to this in terms of roster management. The biggest, I think, is being able to keep the chemistry together, because you're bringing in new people that might not see things the way that y'all see them, that might not have the same, how do I say this? They might not have the same traits that your team currently has. And some things can mix like oil and water. And you might have some rough patches. You might have some people feeling some type of way because their job is on the line. And this guy who wasn't here for years grinding with this team could potentially take my spot. But the biggest one of them all, the one that Ole Miss was really, really, really getting hurt from, is the money. There are newer players making way more than returning players, guys like TJ Daugherty, guys like Princewell, and they ain't having it. They're not having it. They go and get their money. They leave and they're gone. And this is a tough spot to put Pete Golding in his first year, because it's like, man, I know that he's not a rookie and he's not like just a fresh meat, but this is just, it's rough. He'll obviously figure it out. But I mean, you had a lot of retention going in after this great year. You thought you were going to be able to build off of it. And I even made a comment saying, man, like they're keeping Chambers, they're keeping Kawan, they're keeping their defense together. This squad, I mean, they're going to be able to compete at least a little bit comparatively to what we initially had thought. And you really would have guessed that the defense would be the one to stay together the most, with the defensive coordinator being promoted to head coach. But no, some fans are even blaming Lane Kiffin for it too. And then I got something to say about this. I think for the greater portion of like 2 to 3 years, Ole Miss fans will blame Lane Kiffin for everything. I mean everything, dog. Raining on game day, Lane Kiffin. Traffic on Oxford, Lane Kiffin's fault. Damn, you're lying to the restaurants too long, Lane Kiffin. Like they're literally going. He will be their scapegoat for everything. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter what happens. Ole Miss fans are going to always circle back to it being Kiffin's fault, and they're doing that for this as well. Kiffin leaked the contracts. He leaked them. Now everybody's pissed, and the whole roster's getting blown up. I mean, it sounds good. It sounds good in theory. I don't know. I'm not going to say it happened or if it didn't, but this is interesting. I will say this, though. This is why Having someone that can manage a roster is key in this era right here. Having somebody like Lane Kiffin who could be able to keep some of these pieces and, who could potentially be able to add some of them as well. And a guy like TJ Daugherty may be coming to LSU. It's crucial in this era. If you cannot manage your roster, if you cannot keep people from hitting the portal, if you can't keep people from getting pissed off and breaking the chemistry of a team or the dynamic of a locker room, you're going to have a tough time. The new era of college football requires you to be able to monitor everything, not necessarily like a general manager, but damn near. You gotta wear a lot of hats in this building if you want to be successful in this era of college football. And Lane Kiffin's doing that greatly. I can't lie. I think that if LSU is going to get anyone from Ole Miss, it should be TJ Daugherty. If you look at his film, he's everywhere, all over the place, going to the ball. Huge emotion, gang tackling, always communicating, telling everybody everything, the mouthpiece, the heart, the soul, whatever you want to say of that defense. He's a huge part. And you're losing a guy like Harold Perkins. You're keeping someone like Whit Weeks. So I think this would be a very good complementary piece. And it's also somebody that I don't think will need that much money to be able to go. It's just my opinion. I mean, hey, you match his salary, maybe even give him a couple $100,000 more, and you're in the mix here. Got Gary Stringer asking, first Damon, good morning, my guy. Appreciate that. Gary Stringer asking, should Kiffin spend big money on offensive linemen like the guy from Colorado? Yeah, we just talked about that. Our guy Jordan Seaton. I think he should. I think that this is one of the fourth best person in the fourth best prospect in the transfer portal. Number one offensive tackle available. It's a key piece. You return a few. You return Braylon, you return Weston, you got Solomon, you got some guys that you're going to be able to throw in there, right? But Jordan Seaton, I think, is the undisputed best candidate out there for the offensive line, which is now your biggest focus because last year it was not good, simply put, no matter what way you want to slice it. I think he's very good. You're going to have to compete, though, with guys like Oregon. It's going to be a big bag, I can't lie to you. But if anybody can figure it out, it's my guy Lane Kiffin. Like I said, it's been an interesting run. I think that they're building a very good roster. I think they've alleviated a lot of concern in the rooms of quarterback, of wide receiver. You've kept most of your corners, so you're not in that same runaround area. If you can get a couple offensive linemen, maybe a linebacker, you're cooking. You're cooking. You're stirring the pot, guys. Let's talk about Dante Moore real quick. I touched on it a little bit when I was saying Jordan Seaton to Oregon could make sense because they're trying to rebuild that offense, rebuild that offensive line, give him some damn protection so he doesn't throw a pick six on the first play next year. A horrible moment. I'm not ever going to get that out of my face, but Dante Moore, decided to come back to college football. We talked about it. Great decision. Wouldn't expect his draft stock to be worth it. I mean, why not come back and let it fly? He probably was going to go around 4th to 5th round, and I hate to be that dramatic and that, that damning, but I just don't think he had a decent run. Now, the season was okay. The season was good, but his biggest moments, especially the ones against Indiana, turnovers galore. The regular season game, he throws 2 picks and gets a loss. In the semifinals game, like I said, first play of the game is a pick six. And I'd be lying if I told you I thought that the game was still competitive at that point. After that first play, after I saw Dante Moore turn it over and Indiana score it, it was over with. I already knew who was winning that game. You get one more dance at it, though. Dante Moore gets to rid the bad taste out of his mouth. But the more interesting thing about all of this is Dylan Raiola, because he just committed to Oregon. He just entered that transfer portal, went to Oregon, signed with Dan Lanning, believed in the vision, and that was the narrative. Is Dante Moore staying now, or what's his decision? Does anybody know? Does this play into it? Are they tipping their hand? None of the above. Dylan Raiola, his decision completely separate from Dante Moore's. Dante decides to stay. Dylan decides to go there. And now Dylan will be a backup sitting for a year, which is really a blessing in disguise. Because if Dylan Raiola can learn that system, be surrounded by those type of weapons in that conference, this is really the best situation for him. And I'm going to even compare it to, this might not be the same situation to a lot of y'all, especially from a talent standpoint, but this is why I was so excited about LSU getting Hassan Longstreet from USC, because now you got a quarterback in the room that can take the torch, and you're not going to be in the portal scratching your head, wondering where your signal caller is. Oregon's now in that mix where Dylan Raiola is the next guy up. If they have a prospect arise and they want to go after him in the transfer portal, they can, 100%. You never know what happens. You never know who enters. You never know what coach gets fired, who loses, whatever the case may be. Anything can happen in college football. So Oregon's not handcuffed to Dylan Raiola, but they're also not up shit creek without a paddle, which is very important. They also have somebody on the back burner if they need it and they don't have any options. Having options is very important here. Dan Lanning knows it. Everybody knows it. This could be a good move for Dylan, being a backup, learning, going out the next season, and putting together one good year before you run to the NFL. I mean, he's had decent seasons, Dylan Raiola, and I'm not trying to say that he's not NFL caliber now, but I do think he will benefit from another year in learning, if you will. This could be the best situation for him, not getting thrown back out into a starting role, taking some time, being able to tweak some of the things he has to work on. It'll be interesting. I saw people making fun of him, saying there was a picture of Patrick Mahomes wearing a Oregon shirt because one of his teammates on the Chiefs played for Oregon. Oregon obviously played Texas Tech. Oregon beat the brakes off of Texas Tech 23-0. So Patrick Mahomes had to wear the Oregon jersey in the locker room, and they're all joking, saying, right after he saw that, he's committing. He ain't going to be able to live that one down, bro. Let's talk LSU hoops real quick. Oh, my God. Like I said at the beginning of the stream, did this. Put their hand over your heart, ripped your heart out, threw it on the ground, and smushed that damn thing on the hardwood, just all over the place. Absolutely heartbreaking loss. LSU led by as much as 18 points. 18-point lead for the LSU Tigers. They choke it. They lose by a buzzer beater to Kentucky. And Kentucky's an okay school, kind of mid now that Calipari left. You almost had a W, though. Almost had a W. Almost don't count here in the SEC, though. You're in a bind, I can't lie. It was one of their better performances all year when you look at the stat sheet, when you look at how close the game went down to the wire, even when you look at the production of the starters on offense. It was their best performance yet. So I'll give you your participation award, your honorable mention award, if you will. 47% from three, 68% at the free throw line. That was not great. 12 turnovers, and then, choked at the buzzer. I cannot believe that they led by 18 points and they cannot get it done in the end. You've got so many things to worry about with this LSU men's basketball team, none bigger than the fact that your head coach will probably not finish the season with you. This is the third time I say it. Everybody probably thinks, good Lord, what does Jacob have against Matt McMahon? Nothing. Nothing at all. I think Matt McMahon is a very cool dude, and I hate to say stuff like this, but I am not on the show with y'all, my buddies. I'm not on the show talking with y'all to tell you what you want to hear. I'm just going to have to tell you the facts. I'm going to have to tell you my honest, objective, unbiased take on this situation. And my unbiased take on LSU men's basketball is there's a problem. You can't lead by 18 and then collapse in the second half, get outscored like 58-30, and have a buzzer beater hit on you. You can't. It's bad. It's horrible. You're 0-4 to start conference play. It ain't going to get much better. I can't lie to you. There's a clear decision that has to be made. You're going to have to get a new head coach. And it might not be a snap the fingers and we're instantly better. It might take some time. But we've seen 4 years of this system, of this scheme, of this philosophy, whatever you want to use to describe it, and it's not working. There has to be a decision made here. I mean, you see decisions made across the board in almost every sport that benefited that sport almost instantaneously. We can even throw football in the mix with Lane Kiffin, obviously Jake Johnson, obviously Kim Mulkey. I mean, you've got a lot of good pieces here that have been able to have success on campus in Baton Rouge. Men's basketball has not been one of them. And I think you're going to have to make an uncomfortable decision here. It's almost just becoming too clear what the decision is, but we'll be breaking it down for you all season long. Let's talk about some NFL picks before I get out of here. You got the divisional weekend. We kind of cooked a little bit on the wild card weekend. I didn't get to tell you all the picks, but we had a decent little week. So I'm going to give you a few of them, a few of my leans, a few of things that I feel good about, and you're more than welcome to take them. You're more than welcome to tail the Verdin verdict picks. All right. Pats over Texans. First things first. I think C.J. Stroud, look, decent quarterback. What the hell was going on in that playoff game versus the Steelers, though? It's like the ball had some type of slime on it. Actually, not because slime would be sticky and he'd actually be able to hold on to the damn thing. It was full of butter. It was buttered up and it was all over the place. He dropped it like 3 times. He obviously threw a pick, whatever the case may be. Ball security was terrible for Houston. You know what wasn't? The defense. The defense just straight straps, lockdown, whatever you want to say. Derek Stingley turning up, Will Anderson turning up. They had a lot of good moments throughout there where the Steelers were just getting smothered. And it looked like the Steelers had no idea what the hell the Texans were doing to them. They had no answer and they got demolished. So hat tip to Houston. It's not happening in New England. It's not happening against Drake, man. I got too much trust in him. This is his MVP season. Shout out Vrabes as well. That's the coach of the year. If you get the Pats at minus 170 or shit, the spread's 3 at Pick'em, minus 115, man, ride on the Patriots, dog. That's one of the best teams in the NFL. That's my number one confident pick all week long is that the Patriots are going to get it done in Foxborough. Then we can move on to the Bills and the Broncos. I think, keyword think, slight lean on the Buffalo Bills. Here's my real pick, though. The real solid pick that I'll give you. The people. My people here. For us to be able to cash home. Bills plus 7. I think the Bills can keep it close regardless of even if they win or lose. I think that Sean Payton has a very good thing going on in Denver, and the Broncos are going to be able to play very confidently at home. So picking the Bills straight up will be a little worrisome, especially last week with them being straight up against the Jags in Jacksonville. It went back and forth down the wire. I think it could have went either way. I could see this game going the exact same situation. Broncos number 1 seed in the AFC, if I'm not mistaken. Let me go ahead and check that. And if they're not, they're number 2. Let me go see AFC standings, NFL. Yeah, Broncos number 1, but I mean, they're tied with the Patriots in terms of their record, but they were able to get it with tie-breaking systems. But regardless, Broncos very good, red hot. I'll lean Bills plus 7 here. I think that it's a decent enough pick. Now, 2 more alternate spreads. You don't have to take both of them. I'll start with the best one. No, I'll give you the more sweaty one. Niners plus 17. I think they're plus 7 straight up. The Seahawks are getting a very generous spot on this line. Please keep in mind the Seahawks and Niners play twice a year as divisional rivals. This would be the equivalent to the Saints playing something like the Falcons or the Bucks or whatever the case may be. They know each other. Simply put, I think that it might not necessarily be a win for the Niners, but them covering a 17-point spread at minus 350 it's at. That's a good parlay leg. You can put that on there with Pat's money line, with Bills plus 7, have you a little plus 250, plus 300. Nice, John. And if you want to get crazy, if you want to really, really risk it for the biscuit, my guy, Rams plus 5.5 versus the Bears, who just got us done. The Packers just eliminated us. Good Lord. I'll tell you a brief story. We were watching the game. Heartbreaking. We were watching the game. Packers are killing in the first half. I think they're up like 21-3. I don't know the exact score, so don't quote me on it. They're up, though. They're winning. It's looking good. We leave the bar at halftime. Somebody tells us, what are you going to do if the Packers lose? It's going to be your fault. If the Packers lose, it's because you left at halftime. You're not supposed to leave. You're supposed to stay. From Juju's standpoint. Well, I didn't listen. I left. And if you've been living under a rock and you don't know, the Packers lost. The Packers choked. I just went on a soapbox rant about LSU men's basketball blowing an 18-point lead. Well, the Packers did that. Can't say that I was expecting a nice playoff run, but we jujued and jinxed our own team. We jujued and jinxed the damn Packers here. So hopefully we don't jinx anybody. I'm feeling the Patriots. I'm feeling Bills plus 7. Those are my safest 2 picks. Then I will go out on a limb. I'll stick my neck out. Niners plus 17. That's what I'm feeling. I like it. That's what I am feeling, guys. I'm about to hop out of here for the weekend. Appreciate y'all for joining us all week long at 9 a.m. Hit that thumbs up. We're out of here. Hit that subscribe button, too. I always say hit that thumbs up. Hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button. Come on, man. Join the community. Join the community. These are my guys. Damon, Coco, Gary. Appreciate everybody for chatting with us. We are out of here. This has been the Verdin Verdict. I'm your host, Jacob Verdin. Y'all enjoy that weekend.